I'm Maricopa County Sheriff Penzone, and normally I ask for 2 minutes of your time, but today it may be a little lengthier because the issue is that important. We know what we're seeing, not just in our community, but across the nation, that we must be intolerant of any form of police abuse. And woven into that is this undercurrent, which is a very powerful force of biased policing and racism. We as an organization will not tolerate or stand for any abuse of any community member, and we will be intolerant of any action that is racial in nature. Now, those are just words, and words must be backed up by actions. But I want to make sure that everybody understands law enforcement is a profession of humans, and humans are flawed, and at times make bad judgments and make mistakes. Some of those things can be overcome, but what will not be tolerated is malice acts, hatred, racism, bias. The steps that we've taken to try to improve who we are and how we do what we do are things such as body-worn cameras, where all of our deputies that work in the patrol divisions have a body-worn camera at all times, and they're required to turn those on with every interaction with a community member. Their first-line supervisors have to do audits and reviews of the video. We also have a division within the organization that does the same, so there's a redundancy and an extra layer of review. We're still under federal court mandate, which means that federal court monitors, as well as the ACLU and the DOJ, have access to and have the availability to review video at any time. Any community member who feels that a representative of this organization is acting in a way that is in conflict with our oath or our values has the opportunity to file a complaint, even anonymous if necessary, to make sure it's brought to our attention. And every complaint must be thoroughly investigated and reviewed to make sure that everything was done properly by the federal court monitors. When we conduct traffic stops, our deputies are required to fill out a checklist of different items to ensure that there was justification in their stop, and that any characteristics about the individual that may be unique, if they are of a minority group or other factors, that those things are noted. So when we do an audit and a review, which is actually conducted by a third party, that we can determine if there's any disparate treatment. And you've heard of this through our reports, where we do have a challenge still with disparate treatment when it comes to citations that are issued at a higher volume to minorities than white males or white females, where we're looking for ways to determine why that occurs and what can be done to correct it. But I must say this to you: we want to seek and find the truth, whether it's in this organization or out in the community, which means that we have to have due process and we have to treat everyone with fairness. That means even our own employees who go to work every day and sacrifice for the sake of this community. So when we have an allegation or a concern over an issue, we are not going to presume that someone is guilty or biased or racist. We're going to give them the opportunity to look through the data to make sure that we understand why it occurred and if it can be corrected. But unequivocally, if any member of this organization acts in a way that's in conflict with our values, is biased policing, or is discriminatory, there will be a punitive response. That consequence could be suspension, it could be demotion, it could be termination, whatever is appropriate. But we will not fail to act, and we will act decisively, because you deserve that. But I call on you to look at this perspective also. The men and women of this organization go to work every day wanting to make a difference for you, to keep this community safe. So I'm calling on you to work with us to support these men and women and to help us be better. Because ultimately, we are an extension of the community. And we want to make sure that every man and woman who lives in the neighborhood and comes to work in this organization lives and works in a place where they can be proud and they can feel appreciated. So there's a considerable balance there. But in closing, I will tell you, I've condemned it before and I'll condemn it anytime I'm speaking of it. The actions that led to the death of George Floyd were unforgivable and criminal. Members of this organization understand that and agree. And so they've gone out every day to try to keep the community safe and be supportive. We will see instances like this again in the future. Our efforts is to make sure this organization does not act in that manner, and when it does occur in this profession, that we stand, take responsibility, condemn it, and work with the community to overcome it. Because for the future of our children, we need to know that there are law enforcement professionals willing to do what is necessary to keep a community safe, but to ensure that everyone is respected and that there is justice, no matter what the color of your skin is, your religion, your ethnicity, or anything that is unique about your character. Thank you for giving me your time. Know that this is a work in progress, but we are committed to it. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office appreciates the community that we serve, and we want to work to earn your appreciation. Thank you.